What was supposed to be a romantic trip to Iceland goes wrong when something unexpected happens. Jenai just left a voicemail for her friend and noticed that the content hasn't changed since yesterday. Riley tries to calm down and decides to look at security cameras all over the world. To their surprise, the streets are empty everywhere they look, and they start to panic. Riley is in denial and says there has to be someone else out there heading out. They look for people in the city again, but don't find anyone. Riley then starts to get angry while outside they find a car with an open window that's still in drive. They use it to search the city, but still don't find anyone all the way out to the countryside. Jenai tries to figure out what's going on, wondering if it's already the raptor or the end of the world. At Riley's urging, she tries to call her mother again, but to no avail. Tired from a long day and upset that she can't reach anyone, they find comfort in each other's arms. Jenai leans on Riley as they sit together in a restaurant. Riley wants to believe there's a reason, but he admits he doesn't know what's going on. At least they're all together when they go back to their hotel that night. Riley is told by Jenai to close the blinds, but he just sits there wondering what to do. Jenai gets dressed up and looks thoughtfully at herself in the mirror. Riley was all set, pours Jenai some wine at a candlelight dinner. He tries to toast, but Jenai says they need to talk. She brings up his injury at the grocery store, where he just left off. Jenai wants Riley to be more careful because they only have each other to rely on, but Riley just ignores her and acts like she doesn't care. Pained and upset, Jenai storms off, and Riley walks through the empty city with a bouquet in his hand. When he gets home, he finds Jenai lying down, and she tells him what she usually does at that time. Realizing why she's upset, Riley promises to be more careful in the future. Jenai gets up and talks about her special book, saying that she wishes she had brought it with her. Riley suggests that she find a copy nearby, but Jenai only wants her own copy because her father gave it to her. It was a record of the important and meaningful things that happened to her, like the first time she told Riley she loved him. Riley tells her that they have everything they'll ever need, each other and beautiful scenery. He also says that they can build anything else they need. Jenai looks at Riley, and he tells her that they have the whole world, but she just wants to go home. This is happening outside in a city that is empty. Riley keeps taking pictures, and when they get home from their trip, Jenai finds that the tap isn't running. He gets scared and throws away his movie. Jenai kills time by scrolling through her laptop looking for notifications and trying to get in touch with people. Riley goes to the grocery store by herself with a bunch of pipes. Jenai then decides to go to church and pray, while Riley is scared when the elevator he just got into almost locks him in. He panics, but when he gets home, the doors open again. Riley can't find Jenai, so he builds contraptions instead. He makes a wheel of pots that he doesn't know about. Jenai thinks the situation is unfair, but Niels tells her that the world isn't fair. She then asks if they're on their own, and Niels gives her another meaning of heareth brief for a home that never was. Jenai feels like nothing matters because God has left them, but Niels tells her that nothing really matters. The next morning, Riley gently wakes /s Jenai with a kiss, and he slowly breaks the news to her that Niels has died. She gets up surprised and walks to room /s Niels while Riley tells her of a nearby cemetery where they can bury him / while Riley is digging a hole. Jenai doesn't see the point in burying Niels. This confuses Riley, who reminds her that it's what humans do. Jenai is focused on finding other survivors and is sure there are more out there, even though Riley tells her they've been looking for weeks. Jenai asks him if they've really been looking. When they get back to the city, Jenai gets some duct tape and starts making a map. She puts tape on empty houses and knocks on their doors. Riley tells her to stop and look, saying that all she is doing is marking the dead and not finding the living. Riley just wants her to come home with him, but Jenai says there is no home there. Riley sees that Jenai is trying to find answers where there are none, so she yells at him. Jenai says she wants to find out what's going on with that crazy situation, which Riley thinks is just a mistake made by the gods. Riley says that he doesn't think it's a mistake, but that it doesn't matter because it won't change who Jenai is. Riley agrees with Jenai when she says that nothing makes sense, but they have different ideas about what that means. Riley tries to convince her that they can still live a good life, but Jenai says she doesn't know what that means anymore. Later, when they get back home, Riley is making a windmill. He then takes Jenai to a river and tells her to remember the glacier they once sat on. The water that flows from that glacier is what makes the river. Riley wants Jenai to remember that life is always hard as he's about to cry. Jenai pulls his face close to hers and kisses and hugs him at dinner. She gives Riley the last of their water and puts her hand on Riley's arm. She thanks him for that day, and he tells her they'll be fine. This makes her smile a little while she washes the dishes. Jenai's laptop gets an email, and she looks at it closely before opening it anxiously. When she sees that it's just a photo that Riley sent, she cries because she realizes that no one else is really out there. Riley wakes up the next morning to find a big white envelope with his name on it. He turns on the water pump before opening the envelope to see what's inside. Inside, he finds beautifully developed grayscale photos, but he worries when he sees all of the pictures of Jenai. Riley rushes around the city, stopping at the beach and a church, before finding Jenai's car parked near the geothermal pool. Back at home, Riley's contraption for Jenai turns on and water starts to flow from the tap. Riley runs to the geothermal pool, where he sees Jenai's dead body floating. He jumps into the pool and carries Jenai to the edge, but she's already dead. Riley sits down, feeling like it's all pointless, and tries to drown himself. He suddenly pulls himself out of the water, though, because he doesn't want to die so easily. Crying and groaning, he tries to pick up Jenai, but his niece Riley gives Denise a tight hug, and then he stands up and leaves her there alone, even though he trips again. Riley goes back to his car feeling weak and defeated. He starts driving and looks at the road a lot as he slowly comes to terms with what is happening. In the end, he grips the steering wheel and just keeps driving, determined to stay alive.